Hello, my name's Dr. Beechar. I'm one of the directors of Medlight and Medical Education, and I've been a GP since 2018. In today's video, we're going to talk about delivering your diagnosis. So your diagnosis should offer some explanation as to why the patient is having the symptoms. It should not be a Latin word for the symptoms. So let me give you a couple of examples. Telling a parent their child has enuresis is not a diagnosis. That's just giving the parent the Latin word for bedwetting. What a diagnosis is, Mrs. Smith, I think the reason your child is wetting the bed is because she's getting bullied at school. And the reason I say that is because this only seems to be happening on school nights. That's a diagnosis because you're telling the parent why you believe the child is wetting the bed. If we take another example, telling a patient he has erectile dysfunction is not a diagnosis. That's just a posh way of saying you're struggling to get an erection, which is something the patient already knows. However, if you say to a patient, Mr. Smith, I think the reason you're struggling to get an erection could be because of the stresses that you've told me about at home, then you're giving the patient an explanation as to why they're struggling to get an erection. So that is a diagnosis. A third example, telling a lady with heavy periods she has menorrhagia is just giving her the Latin for heavy periods. However, telling her that you believe her periods are heavy because she's suffering from what we call dysfunctional uterine bleeding is giving her an explanation as to why her periods are heavy. And that is your diagnosis. So when you deliver your diagnosis, make sure you're telling the patient what's causing their symptoms and you're not just giving them a posh or Latin word for their symptoms, because that is not a diagnosis.